Okay, so we're recording. I'm Carol, and I am here to introduce my dear friend Robin to you. Um, or as my phone or my car says to me, Robin Bartle Drop Nipper, which is probably, how do you say your name exactly?
It's Robin Rockneypour, but
Yeah.
on Facebook, I'm Robin Bartold, my maiden name, Rockneypour. But when you're given the gift of a rockin' name, you so yes, Rockneypour.
Right, that is so great.
Yeah.
But my car calls you something different, so I had to learn a different way. What we're doing here, for starters, is talking about how we met. See, I know that we were talking on Facebook before we met in October at the Obesity Health Conference. I
Right.
can't, because when you tend to, until you meet somebody, it's hard for it to stick.
Right.
As you're talking to many people online, it's like, gosh, I hate to say this, but I don't often always remember my clients' names. I remember everything about their lives, but not like names and me. So I knew you were somebody I wanted to meet. I just didn't know. Well, I had no idea we would be as connected as we are. So what was your experience with our meeting?
Oh, very similar. I had seen you and interacted with you on Facebook, and it was my first year last year
Yeah.
attending. And I had gone, I just knew the little voice in my head said, go meet her. And that was you. So,
Yeah.
go there, do that. And that's how we met. So I was just so blessed to meet you.
Well, vice versa. So we're almost the same. We're 9-ish years out.
Right. Both gastric Roux-en-Y bypass surgeries.
Right. Both compulsive eaters. I don't know.
Stuff.
Yeah, stuff, right? Life has stuff.
Right.
We've become really close throughout this time. I mean, you were there when I was dying, for gosh sakes. I mean, during all that craziness that happened after we met.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a learning journey for me with you, and I think vice versa. We teach each other.
Yes, we do.
Which
I've been
is,
blessed.
yes, we're so blessed because it seems like we complement each other so well. What I don't seem to know, and what you
Vice versa, right? What I don't know, you fill in the blanks for me as well.
Right. So that's when I think you started saying, I've always said it's the why we eat. And you've always said the how to eat, or the how to take care of your health.
Right. Well, I knew my health was not good, and I knew I wasn't living the way that I should have been. So I figured out the how. And that was the easy part for me. I mean, it wasn't easy. It was a progression of a journey. My original goal was just to get under 300 pounds.
Right.
Any number with a 2 in it, I'd have been totally okay with. But definitely, it's been quite a journey.
Well, and it's really never been about the weight or the number or the whatever in my mind, except at the time it was. And if you look at my videos from my weight loss, everything I talk about is the numbers. Mm-hmm. And the numbers became like God to me in a way, like, oh, I didn't lose anything, or I did lose something, or, all of that was happening during that first year was all about the numbers.
Yeah, well, the scale's a little tricky. It's your measuring stick, and it shows your progress, and you want to be careful not to let that become your value. Yes. Because then when the numbers go back in the other direction, you're kind of left going like, hey, wait a minute here, and all the old thoughts and the negative cycle and the shame cycle that you talk about, mm-hmm. that kicks in, and then it's on the path to the regain, the rest of your life. So
right. And then you eat.
So why it's so important.
Yeah. So then you feel the shame of the numbers going up, or you feel the shame of the number, however that looks.
Right. Well, it works both ways. Because at my lowest, yeah. It was a little too low, for me. And people were concerned about my health from, the the amount of weight that I had lost. So it can be on both sides.
Yeah, and still is, which is, we were just talking about, here we are, for the most part, you're over 9 years and I'm just under, so we can just say for the most part 9 years out, and we still struggle with this process. We still have our stuff, because this was no easy fix. This was a decision that profoundly changed everything.
Right. For me, it was a decision. I knew it was just another thing, like when it was with you, go that way, do that. I was up late at night. I wasn't sleeping. I saw the 2 a.m. commercial for the gastric bypass. And it was just like, go that way. And it was, from start to finish, when I saw my doctor, from when I had my appointment, from when I was on the table, having surgery, it was a 2-week time span. So I was dropped into this body that physically did not allow me to eat the only foods that I knew how. So it was a very difficult adjustment and a learning process, and education is key. Understanding your habits, why, is key. And then the how, that becomes just simple. That's what you and I have so many conversations about it. It's, find your patterns, do it until, find what works for you, and I learned from you as well. It's just surrounding yourself, and we're so much stronger as a team all together in our struggles. So
yeah,
learn from each other.
Right. So I was when we're doing a redo right now from the Facebook Live, the thing that I really got in the last week and a half is sugar equates pain. The inflammation, and the inflammation from the processed foods. I've been eating clean for a long time, and still I was kind of kidding myself with the Starbursts that were sitting by my bedside, and I would wake up and realize I had eaten it and I didn't even know.
Right. Well, those are habitual things, and then we process that, and I think you'd come up with some suggestions of some gummies, and taking the Starburst out and putting your gummies in, and just making, it's just a little bit of a habit change that is required.
Well, it was the bariatric calcium.
Right. Which
it looks like the Starburst. I wouldn't say it tastes like the Starburst, but it's good enough. I mean, I don't really like all that sugar anyway. After a while, once you get off of it, it kind of tastes a little too much anyway. I just got my first ketchup low sugar. I can't wait to try.
Yay! I'm so proud of you. I like tell people, how much sugar and calories you can save just on your condiment drawer that you'd never even know. But that's major. And, for me, I was diagnosed with a chronic disease and led a life of chronic inflammation. It's been 20 years now. And what the surgery did for me is it forced me to change my eating habits. I made the connection when I ate less sugar. Oh my gosh, I didn't feel as bad. So I go to my rheumatologist and I'd say, oh my gosh, I feel better. He's like, there's no connection. I said, yes, there is. So it was just putting pieces together. And as time went on, I realized, what I know now is to be an elimination diet. I had started my own process of elimination. And that was really key to my success, is instead of allowing my body to adjust to foods that didn't agree with me, I started eliminating them. So I think I started with breads and potatoes, and deep fried foods were all the top 3, getting rid of everything that made me sick. And basically, I got sick of being sick.
I was just thinking about one of our conversations that we had not too long ago, but we've kind of had this many, many times, which is that, when you go to the support groups, especially the people in the first year go to those support groups. At some point, very few people actually attend and or continue through the process. But how many people do you know that are saying, when can I eat bread? When can I have cake? When can I have sugar? When can I have alcohol? When?
Alcohol, a lot. Oh, frustrating. But there's a lot of questions, when can I add alcohol? And I think I spent one summer
or soda
dance floor because I didn't realize the effects of it. And it's like, no, you don't want to do that because it goes straight into your system.
Well, and the soda thing is the biggest slippery slope to, stretching your pouch.
Right. I mean, it's carbonation, it's bubbles, it's inside of you, and that's exactly what you don't want, is you don't want to stretch out your stomach. And I think, in the very beginning, I probably was so scared. It was just, I stayed on my soft foods of chicken broth, scrambled eggs, and yogurt for as long as I could.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to eat, so it kind of worked, and it's taken me 9 years now. I'm barely introduced, and in fact, you got me back into eggs again, because I just ate eggs with the surgery. But that's an interesting conversation in itself, because that's a food mood connection. That's what I call. And then that's what you do, is once you make that food mood connection, then you can figure out how to change it. So
right. So I mean, and really for me, as a clinician, and as a transformational coach, we talk about, where does it come from? Where did we learn how to eat? I mean, there wasn't a time, I don't remember my mother not saying, you've lost weight or you gained weight, as part of the beginning of any conversation I ever had with her. When she would first see me, it would be either you lost or gained. Well, what does that have to do with anything?
Right.
Yeah, our whole world was revolved around that. My mother was bulimic and anorexic. And so that was her journey. I compulsively ate, all a need to control, and the illusion that we actually can. It's such a joke, but that is, we try and we try and try to control our outsides, but really what we're trying to control is the turmoil and the pain on the inside.
Right. I remember, I think my first love affair was with chocolate. I mean, we can have a whole conversation about it if we start talking about food, but I remember at a young age, I'd be in the laundry, and that's where my mom kept the extra slabs of chocolate I'd gnaw off a little piece, and I'd hide it in my bedroom, and that was my little safe secret space. So yeah.
Oh, the shame and the secret. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you. My kids all knew I was secretly eating. Right. It was all kind of the family joke, is mom's got a bunch of stuff up, in her bedroom.
Well, everybody has a drawer, but I don't think it was secret in my occasion. I think it was quite obvious from the visuals that I had some issues and some serious problems regarding food. It manifested in food.
I was in denial. I wanted everybody not to tell me that they knew.
I was just big boned. Did you ever get that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that one. I was big boned. I'm so big boned I can wear a 00 sometimes. But at the time, that's what I said too, and that's what a lot of people I know do. So as we come up to Easter, so Easter's, one of those holidays. Well, I think all holidays to some degree affect people. I see that with my clients. They're going to go home to see their family. Oh my God, the family they don't get along with, then they're going to have to pretend that they're still a kid even though they're grown up, or, so then they go back to whatever comfort they have. And if it's eating, they do that thing. If it's drinking, they do that thing. I see people slip constantly with any addiction, drugs, alcohol, gambling, I don't care what it is, hoarding even, when they are around a holiday.
Well, holidays can definitely be a trigger in multiple ways. I think what you were talking about is stressful, emotional eating. Then you have the opposite, the celebratory, family gathering and the overeating, and it's like the turkey dinner that you feel like you got to go take a nap from, so I just like to think of not necessarily holidays, but accountability and holding yourself accountable. A holiday is not a reason to deviate from your goals. Yes, you can, does it serve you? I mean, there's so many different ways to celebrate your holidays. You can go outside and be with nature and, just change it up a little bit, change your approach, change your habits. So whether it's listening to music or going to a service or being with nature, listening to music, if your triggers were emotional, stressful family eating, cut that short and go for a walk before and after. It might serve you better.
Right. And then you don't have to go into the shame of, I just ate that big meal and now I feel bad. And when I
Right,
feel
and
bad,
that's the worst thing you can do, because that starts that cycle,
mhm.
and you just don't want to get stuck in that shame, because then you'll just stay there, and you it's hard to get back. So
Right. I mean, I'd like to say every day is a new day.
every
That'd be
meal is a new
great.
meal.
Or
Every
every
meal
meal is a new meal, or, you know, in the recovery world, it's, you know, 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 heartbeat at a time, however you can handle not eating the sugar, the thing, you know, that take it down to the smallest common denominator so you don't whatever it is, relapse on whatever it is you do.
Right, and like there's certain irritants that are known to wreak havoc in your body. Sugar being one, dairy being another one. Deli meat's no bueno. Class C carcinogen. You don't want to go there, especially if you have a health issue. And so for me, sugar was my thing. Chronic pain was something that I dealt with, something that I still deal with. And
Right.
it just happens to be that a lot of other people deal with the same. It's a lot of information, but I mean, it's like I'll learn something. I'm still learning. I Google this and I learn about that, and I call that doctor and I ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want people to take away, is to take control of their health and be accountable. Don't lose all caution to the wind on the holidays.
Right. But there is, you know, and this is what I'm talking about quite a bit, as you well know, you know, the relationship between trauma and chronic pain, both emotional and physical. I don't know too many people that come from needing a gastric bypass that don't have some level of trauma that they just called life, that now they're needing to, now they've been stripped of that coping skill of the food. And
Right.
so, you know, now it's an opportunity, if you want to look at it that way, to be different, to eat clean, you know, and to control to some degree our medical problems with food.
Right, right. I mean, the weight loss and the health, that was my goal. The weight, I don't, people ask, what do I eat? What do I weigh? What do I measure? Whatever I want to, because everything that I eat is so healthy. I've tried
Mhm.
multiple different diets. I really just try and eat, from my intuition.
Mhm.
And that's what I want people to learn too, is take control
Mhm.
of your health, take control of your food. Don't even start me talking about food and cooking, because we'll be here for another half an hour.
Well, but
I
I
mean,
want
I
to talk a
really,
bit about that because that is your thing, and
right.
you know I intuitively eat as well, and I intuitively cook as well. However, you are trained in that. I just do it intuitively,
Yeah.
as the just the layperson that I am. But you have training in this, and you are helping people through, you say, shopping, cooking, teaching, training, uh,
Right.
all that, right?
Yeah, no, I'm self-taught. I've gone to school, became a certified health coach. I've studied nutrition in a holistic way. I think it's been a total of 10 years. Even before I started my weight loss journey, I had an interest in studies. And it's just, that kind of was the catalyst for me. I was able to educate myself and learn, and it's been an absolute blessing.
Right. Well, and what we have learned through this process, I mean, we're OGs that are successful in that,
Right.
in the world. And so I guess we want to offer that to other people. I mean, there's no doubt. I guess, I mean, that is what we want to do. That's why I wrote my Recovering My Life. The 2 books I have, the 3rd book is, would be for the family and friends. I'm not currently working on that one because I'm writing 2 other books, but I will come back and revisit that, because it's so important, number one, to really do an autopsy on, you know, how did your family deal with food? You know, how did that work? You know, are there other people in your family that are overweight, or some underweight? Do some have drug addiction? Like, what happened in your family? so that
Right.
you can now make decisions as an adult and teach the people in your life. My kids, you know, for one thing, I never gave them food as a reward. None of them have weight problems.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
and
that.
it's hard because it starts, you know, that in potty training, and let's go celebrate around food, and it's a
Yes.
mind shift, and it's learning new habits, and let's go for a walk. You know, let's do something different. So it's all about changing your thoughts, changing your habits, but that all starts with changing your beliefs.
Well, and also that is very cultural, you know, the food, you know, the celebratory food. I mean, it goes back to the Bible. It's everywhere. I still do that with my children. We just do that differently now. Our food
Right.
is clean now.
Right, and that's what I teach people. Is I've created an 8-week program, and we'll spend one entire week at the grocery store. And a lot of people don't know this, but the food marketing companies, they actually I'm sorry, I'm tongue-tied. Strategically, they will place all of the unhealthy foods in the
Sure.
center.
Of
Right.
course.
So if you learn what I call like a perimeter shopper, you know, you
Right.
have your vegetables, your dairy, everything
Right.
on the outsides, and you can pretty much guarantee if it's out of a box, if it's out of a can, you know, not the best health choice food. But I mean, they have
Right.
marketing, you know, people
Oh,
that
yeah.
pay and they strategize. And I mean, you think you're going into shop, people just don't even realize what they're coming up against.
Right. They put the bad food at eye level.
At eye level, right, exactly.
Yeah,
at eye
making
level,
sure
right.
that you're going to see it, or when you walk out the store, you are going to see all the sugar on the planet as you try to get out the door. And
Yeah.
you know, it's
Oh, that's a funny story. I realized I used to go to the pharmacy and pick up, you know, whatever I needed at the drugstore. And every time I would go to the pharmacy, my little chocolate, what my issue was at the time, they'd be little bags of mint chocolate squares, and they'd be bags 2 for $7. Well, I didn't just buy 2 for $7. I had to buy 4 for $15, or whatever the math.
yeah,
You know what I
makes
mean?
sense.
And so every time I walked in, I was like, here's this giant display of chocolate. I just changed groceries. It was just, I don't have that willpower. I don't have enough willpower to fight the money and the manufacturings and all the food strategies and targeting. You know, it's like, I'm just going to go someplace else to make it easier. So,
Right.
but yeah.
My dog is going crazy because there's somebody ringing the doorbell. Who knows who? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up anyway for now, and just
Right.
say that, you know, for Easter, you get a choice on what
Right.
to eat, you know, and if it's a lifestyle, then it really just, I add a little something in for
Mhm.
that day. That doesn't mean I let all caution to the wind.
Right. Right, and think of plants and fruits, and I mean, there's so many amazing things that you can use to treat yourself. Like I said, go to nature, you know,
Mhm.
going to food, sometimes the knee-jerk reaction, you know, from habits back in the day. And, you know, what better time to make a new habit than Easter?
Right, right.
Right. So it's been great talking to you, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Right, and post online. Once I put this up, this link, please post your website, and
Right. No, I will.
and I will of course post mine, and you know, hopefully we'll get some comments, and you know,
Definitely, and some maybe future topics of people that, you know, have some questions and they want us to explore and have conversations about. So yeah,
sure,
please
yeah,
comment and like us, and you know, you can find me out. Like I said, I'll put the link up. But it's howilost258pounds.com. And Carol, you are.
oh, caroladkisson.com. I'm just
There
like
you go. We all know who Carol is.
simple, you know. Healing for Humanity hopefully will be up and launched soon. Right now, my website will always be Carol Rose Adkisson, caroladkisson.com. It just keep it simple for me. And I really couldn't tell you how much weight I've lost, because in any given day it changes. So
Yeah, no, somebody asked me the numbers and I like had to think back and I had to reverse math it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But anyways, I'll let you go.
okay, awesome. All right,
I'll speak to you
I'll talk to
later.
you soon. All right,
Okay,
bye bye.
bye.